It's not your journey to take. It's not your journey to take. It's not your journey to take. Let's learn. Let's learn.
Good morning to Not Your Journey to Take Early Morning Sip and Chat. I want to welcome you for joining me. I want to thank you for riding with me the last 4 weeks. This is the last day of the fourth week. We have about 3 or 4 days left in the month of January. So again, thank you for joining me. My name is Keisha, Kesha Mason Campbell. I am the author of Not Your Journey to Take, and I teach women that no is a complete sentence, and I show them how to set and establish healthy boundaries while putting their needs first. All right, so this is the last day of the fourth week. So let's do a quick recap. In week 1, we talked about setting boundaries as goals. As you're setting your goals, I just asked you to add a couple of boundaries as goals. Week 2, I asked you to test those boundaries. Some of you were able to test them successfully, and some of you backpedaled a little bit. And after you got the responses back, you couldn't stand in your no. You did it anyway. And like I said to you, that was understandable because you're learning that no is a complete sentence. You're learning how to set healthy boundaries. And that takes some time. And then once you set them, then you have to implement them. And that may not be easy for you, and that's fine. But that's what I teach you in my 10-week program is how to set and establish healthy boundaries while putting your needs first and knowing that no is a complete sentence. In week 3, we talked about fears. I gave you the top 5 fears as to why we don't set and implement boundaries. The fears are: 1, fear of how someone will feel if you say no; 2, fear of retaliation; 3, fear they won't respect your boundaries; 4, fear of putting yourself first; and ultimately, fear of the unknown. These fears are there, but you can't let these fears take over. Remember, your no to someone else is saying yes to yourself. If you are good and everything is okay, then absolutely show up for others. But if you do your mental checklist, what do I have going on? Have I planned something for me today? Was I just going to sit and relax today? Was I going to take a mental break today? However way that needed to happen for you and to you, that's totally up to you. But with that being said, you need to make sure that you go through your mental checklist before you say yes to someone else. And remember the example that I've been given for 4 weeks. If you have ever been on an airplane, the flight attendant says, if the cabin loses air pressure, secure your mask first and then help others. The opposite of doing that is not putting on your mask first. Cabin is losing air pressure. You're helping all the other people. And then when it's time to help yourself, you don't have anything left for yourself. And the example to that is trying to reach for your mask and can't get it. No one is paying attention that you've lost oxygen and that you are not able to put on your own mask because they're focused on themselves. They're focused on breathing because they have on their oxygen mask and they don't see that you are struggling. They don't see it. Not that they don't want to, but they're focused on themselves. But if you had put your mask on first, if you had secured your mask first, then what you could have done is been in a healthy space and a healthy place, and then you can help all others put on their mask. So remember, those fears were fear of how someone will feel if you say no, fear of retaliation, fear they won't respect your boundaries, and fear of putting yourself first, and ultimately fear of the unknown. So in this week, the fourth week in January, we talked about ready responses. Ready responses are pre-prepared responses to questions that you are frequently asked. The people may be different, but the questions are very similar. Questions are very similar. And then your rated responses should be there for you to be able to use if you are unable to show up and you're unable to do whatever is being asked of you. Be it a favor, be it a request, a question, your time, or your money. You can have ready responses for that. So I'll take you through a few ready responses that we've been talking about this week. 1, no, not today. 2, give me some time and I'll get back to you. 3, I understand, but I don't have the capacity. 4, personally, I am not comfortable with having this conversation. 5, believe me, I get it, but I can't do it. 6, at the end of the day, you have to do what you have to do, but that's not for me. So those are multiple ways where you can say no and feel comfortable in your no if you can't just say the word no by itself. So think about that. Ready responses. And we'll wrap up the week by putting a lid on it. And I'll tell you what putting a lid on it actually means starting tomorrow. So week 1, we talked about setting some of our boundaries as goals. Week 2, we talked about testing those boundaries. Some of you could, some of you couldn't. Some of you had to backpedal. Some of you could stay in your no, or whatever your test was that you had to do for the boundaries that you set. It could be a number of things, but the reason I've been using no, because no is universal. But everybody's boundaries are different. What's requested or required of you are different for each person. Week 3, we talked about the fears. Fear of how someone will feel if you say no, fear of retaliation, fear they won't respect your boundaries, fear of putting yourself first, and ultimately, fear of the unknown. So now, this week, we have talked about ready responses, and I'll recap those. 1, no, not today. 2, give me some time and I'll get back to you. 3, I understand, but I do not have the capacity. 4, I personally am not comfortable with having this conversation. 5, believe me, I get it, but I can't do it. 6, at the end of the day, you have to do what you have to do, but that's a no for me. Understand? That is a no for me. So for you, let's go through each one of these weeks when you get time and just try all of these. And then let me know in the comments whether you have watched the live, listened to the replay. Let me know. And then also inside the caption is a link in there to book a complimentary strategy session with me. Book a complimentary strategy session with me. And then we can talk about your boundaries, how you struggle with setting, implementing your boundaries, how you struggle with putting yourself first. Understand when you put yourself first and then you start to help all others, you help them out of love and out of kindness. And it's received in love and kindness. And you're not operating out of obligation, guilt, or feeling like you're required, or feeling like you have to. That comes across in those ways as well. And you don't want to do that. You want to help people, talk to people, do for people, show up for people out of love and out of kindness. I want to thank you so much for joining my early morning sip and chat. My name is Keisha, Kesha Mason Campbell. I am the author of Not Your Journey to Take, and I show women how to set and establish healthy boundaries. I teach them that no is a complete sentence, all while putting their needs first. Thank you again for joining me, and you have a super fantastic day on purpose, and I will see you soon. Have a great day. Thank you for watching the latest Not Your Journey to Take video. I hope that each of you will be having a super fantastic day, and be sure to subscribe, like, and share.